This region around the Great Lakes has been called the heartland. When it comes to agriculture, there's hardly an area in the world that compares.
Everybody, just hold on. I don't know what we're going to have here.
There's a lot of self-proclaimed geniuses out there that know the national yield, but they're all wrong.
Manage money, piling in.
Double digits higher.
So at this point, we're in kind of uncharted territory.
There's a lot of money on the sidelines.
So that was a crazy one.
That's what brings the viewers back. That a boy.
Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, August 3rd, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you get any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here, December corn down 2.5 at 461.5. September soybeans were down 8 at 11.62 3/4, and September Chicago wheat was up a penny at 640 1/4. This morning we had a couple of export sales announcements. 488,000 metric tons of soybeans sold to China. That was for 26. Also announced 136,150 metric tons of soybeans. Those are to unknown destinations, also for new crop 26. Good morning, fellas. I guess over the weekend, generally pretty good rainfall. Certainly some pockets that could have used some that didn't get it, but all in all, I'd say a pretty good storm. I mean, 3 to 5 inches in northern parts of Illinois. Put a wet damper on Saturday, but it moved through on Sunday. More noise out of Iran. We got crude down over $5 here this morning. Possibility that they're coming to the table again. So as with that's always a fluid situation. We'll have to see what comes out. Stocks certainly this morning viewing this as friendly, ups over 600 here in the Dow, 53,297. So Dustin, with that, why don't you share a few thoughts here to kick off the week, and then we'll throw around the room.
Yeah, Dan, thanks. Yeah, it's it's like every weekend we go to war on Friday at 4:01 p.m. and then we are at peace talks again sometime before markets start trading again. And so far, energy markets have stayed very stable because of that. We've been able to stay away from that $100 number, staying below $90 a barrel. And you combo that lower energy price to start the weekend, or start the week out, and then this rainfall totals. I've got the map up here. Gavin, if you want to put that up there, very good coverage. Some areas getting quite substantial amounts, but most of that central Midwest getting a decent amount of rain over the last 72 hours. I think the market opened lower made sense, and I am a little surprised it didn't open up even a little bit more and lower than it did, given what we were forecast.
Yeah. Ben, what are your thoughts here this morning as we start the week?
Yeah, I thought with crude being down as much as it was and good rains that we'd get a little bit more. Maybe people are waiting to see conditions again this week, since we had such a large decline last week, see if things stabilize there. It's a tough time of the year to be long. I think you really have to put something in here to get this market get a more than 10 or 20 higher from here. So we'll see. We're going to have a lot of grain. Maybe it's not at the high end of a lot of people's estimates, but we are going to harvest a pretty big crop here, and in the next 6 to 14 weeks, and a lot of it will start hitting soon as the Delta and places like that start getting going. So I think we're a tough long here for a little bit. Certainly, we're vulnerable to geopolitical events, particularly Russia, Ukraine. So we'll see what happens. But for right now, I think it's still a sell rallies market.
Yeah, Justin, it was interesting looking at commitment of traders to see the, certainly on the bean complex, just they continue to pile in here. An interesting play given no weekend weather. We'll have to see if they defend it this week. But what are your thoughts?
I guess I was a little surprised we weren't lower than we were. That being said, we did, we took 80 cents off the bean market and 30 cents off the corn market, in a week. So a little over a week. Beans are kind of just getting back to the moving averages, so they're still in an uptrend, and we're, China's finally shown up buying some beans. So there could just be willingness to stay in there. We know we're supposedly, China's coming to the U.S. September 24th. So I would expect, as long as that stays on schedule, that you'll get some big frame purchases from China before that meeting. Now that's kind of a long ways away in the way these markets move. So I would think we're still under pressure, between now and call it September 1st or September 15th. Then I think some things could be interesting again. Just to Ben's point and kind of what we've been talking about, just time of years against you, especially when we just had a bunch of rain. So I think it's just gonna be a tough, I think rallies will be sold, not that we have to completely go capitulate. We have been trading big yields the whole time. Now we've gotten rains to probably verify a lot of those yields. So yeah, I would expect us to just kind of go sideways lower. It could be kind of a painful grind too. But there is 155,000 longs, net longs in soybeans, and what do we say, 170 or so in corn. So they're not short, right? They're long. So I would expect them to get out of this long. They're underwater on almost all of it. A lot of that buying was higher than these prices. So unless something comes out to really get them excited again, I would think that they continue to liquidate that position.
And so looking at those coverage levels adjusted from this weekend, I mean, we said going home, it was going to be a really important weekend, for a lot of those areas that were teeter-tottering on needing water. But now it feels like if the long-term forecast shakes out, I mean, you kind of got to the finish line. Would you agree with that?
I don't know about finish line meaning, I think you took a disaster off the table for sure. Now, if it doesn't rain again, you're going to take yield off and it's not going to be a great crop. You still need, really when the crop's filling, you need an inch a week, right, to have ideal conditions. So yeah, some places did get good rains. If you look like the western part of the belt, there's good areas of Iowa, Minnesota, Dakotas that did not get good rains. So I'm sure they're going to be, kind of moaning here if they don't get some soon. So yeah, for, you go put down, 2 to 4 inches in some big key areas, that saved a lot of crops. Those areas aren't going to be a disaster, even if you do stop raining because you just had 4 inches. But certainly to have, the kind of yields that were thrown out there, 185, 186, 187, you have to have, in my opinion, good moisture throughout August to maintain that level of crop size. So I'm not in the camp of, we just made the crop. I think we just prevented a disaster. If it didn't rain again, I think there's a lot of crops that were going to go backwards pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And I still, again, like you can see those maps, but, start talking to growers that are in those areas that missed it. And it's been in the 90s for weeks. I'm sure they're, they would disagree that the crop was made this weekend. So yeah, maybe that's why we're not limit down. There's enough places that missed it that maybe you still have to have a little bit of weather premium in the market and see how the next couple of weeks goes with rains.
That's a good point. Moving on here, we got a couple of minutes, Rylan. Let's cash ended up slightly higher on Friday in the cattle market, so they're starting to take a deep breath over there, but we're getting pretty nasty in the hog market. So kind of tale of two cities there. Why don't you share some thoughts here as we start the week?
Yeah, it was a decent finish to the week here in cattle. We're new highs for the move, and I think everybody's just waiting for the cash trade to develop, which developed late, and yeah, about 2 to 5 higher from the previous week. So still seeing around that 232 to 235 level. I think everybody's just kind of waiting to see if this beef market's really going to hold together, and we're going to see this big kind of rocket ship in price just now that we're finally in August here. So I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis just on the performance of the beef going on for the next week. And we did see a little bit of an uptick in choice. It was up 88 cents, 361.88. Select up 490 at 346.23. So that feels like that's really going to be the focus. Obviously there's some longer term news, with the border and such, that it kind of rocked everybody's world, but still seems like more of a longer term issue that we're going to have to deal with. So I think the focus still is going to be on the near term leading into Labor Day here. We do have some things going on here, though. August option expiration is going to be here on Friday, and then the following Monday, first notice day. So we expect that basis to kind of tighten up a little bit here, and the focus really probably on the roll here from Oct to D's just in the next week as well. So we'll see how that kind of shapes up. And yeah, hogs inside day. I mean, it looked like we got some covering here. Managed money kind of been easing back on their short position here too. I mean, still net short 11,000, but covered quite a bit on the rally, but just past the tail end of the week was just spelled absolute disaster. So I think most of the emphasis right now is still going to be on the cutout, and just bellies are holding the world together for right now. Ham business just seems to dry up here. So once again, I think you've got a little bit of just caution here, just from a seasonal standpoint. Maybe some Labor Day demand kind of holds us up in the near term, but overall, it just feels like there's a reason why the managed money's short and not fully exited now at this point, especially going into the tail end of the year where seasonally prices tend to take a little bit of a dip. So cash still ended up higher on the week, but still, I think you're just kind of seeing the optimism start to fade here. So I think there's a lot of caution here going into this week.
Very good. Appreciate the update there, Rye. We've mentioned it earlier in the show, but we will get crop conditions here 3 o'clock Central. We'll take a look at those, visit about that in the War Room. Also, link is in the description, but check out the War Room report. Access to premium content, reactions to USDA reports, and just an overall deeper dive into everything we discuss here daily on the War Room. Also, a portion of those subscription fees goes directly to support the AgYield NextGen Foundation, which supports our national scholarship competition that we run every year. Check that out as well. If you got any questions on how to support the foundation, let us know. We can help you out. I appreciate everybody that tunes in on a daily basis. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like and certainly subscribe. We're doing this every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live at 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. It was a good show. Hope everybody has a good start to the week, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
The War Room is presented by AgYield, a risk management partner of American grain farmers for over 50 years. Looking for more in-depth analysis? Check out the War Room report. Our team's knowledge and expertise delivered straight to your inbox every weekday. Each report delivers key market-moving headlines, critical weather updates, USDA report breakdowns, and exclusive video content. All for $50 a month. And most importantly, 10% of every subscription will go directly to support the AgYield NextGen Foundation, a nonprofit investing in agricultural education and the future of farming. To sign up for the War Room report, check out the link in the description or learn more at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.